Hags coming out of the ocean, riding frogs with hydras behind them is 1, totally viable, and 2, badass. So, all right, that's the end of the episode.
Welcome to Monsters in Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons & Dragons fix. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornagle.
I'm Will Milden.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This week is the Warlock Sorcerer Multiclass, and then Hags Part 2 from Volo's Guide to Monsters. So pull up a chair and listen up.
All right, so our classes this week, the Warlock and the Sorcerer. Right out the gate, we got 2 full casters. We've got both Charisma casters and just 2 kind of seemingly overlapping classes mechanically. Warlock is something that's touched by a greater power and given their powers through that way. Sorcerer, it's usually like a birthright of sorts or touching another thing that gives them magical powers. Okay, so we're already finding some overlap. Kevin, first thoughts?
I mean, this is too easy. This is pretty much the go-to example of ridiculous, overpowered multi-class. There's a basically game-breaking one, which we'll get to. I just want to cover it first, just to get that out of the way so it doesn't bog us down. RP-wise, there's absolutely no reason these couldn't work together. It actually makes more sense that they would work together. I'm worried we're not going to get to an hour because it's like, yeah, this is perfect. Just do it. Let's move on to Hags. Will?
This is one of those, the entire RP behind this is how many people who are over 7 feet have won the lottery? Like, one ever? It's like, how you come to the table and it's like, oh yeah, I made a pact with an ancient evil god and also my wild magic surges, and I have draconic blood, and there is a lot of rarity to both these classes that I think is underappreciated in D&D, and combining it kind of seems a little try-hard.
Yeah, it's I said this kind of jokingly last episode, but this one I seriously mean. If somebody came with a Warlock Sorcerer, they are being greedy. It's exactly what you're saying. It's like 2 of the most lucky incidences or just like very, very tiny percentage, and we're talking about putting both of them into the same character. Role-playing wise, yes, of course you can justify it because you're an adventurer and that's all you really need to say, I'm the lucky one. But it hurts. It really hurts.
I agree with that. I'll give you that one.
Another thing to note is that I can't see anyone coming to this with like a common race. Like it with a straight face. It's like, oh yeah, I'm also one of the rarest monster races that happens to, I'm a demon spawn.
I'm a goblin, and when I was born, my main goal was to speak with the eldritch horrors beyond the realm. What? No, it's not.
Go home. Make like a human warrior, dude.
Here you go. Here's the champion fighter. Think about what you've done. All right. So that's enough of the ribbing into the role playing of it. That it really interests me, Kevin. You said there's some broken aspect to this.
Yeah, the coffee lock.
I'm actually not familiar. I've heard it in passing.
Okay, yeah, we didn't come up with this. This is, you could find it online and all that, but in case anyone's not familiar. So the Warlock spellcasting is Pact Magic. They get 2 spell slots, and that increases as they get higher. Comes back on a short rest though, and then the spell level is static based on their class level. So at level 1, they have 2 first level spells, and then like at level 5, it's 2 second or third level spells. It specifically what it is important for this. Then you have Sorcerer, who have flexible casting. So the Sorcerer has their sorcery points. They start getting them at level 2, and it matches their level. At level 2, they have 2 sorcery points, 3 sorcery points, and so on. Flexible casting allows them to turn spell slots into sorcery points, and there's a table for it, and then sorcery points into spell slots. So the coffee lock's whole thing is, as long as they never take a long rest, and now with Xanathars, you have the invocation of the Eldritch Invocation of the Moon, or something along those lines, where you don't have to sleep, you're kind of have infinite spell slots of below, I think, 6 levels. I don't think you could create spell slots above 6th level, maybe not above 5th, but So you convert your 2 packed magic things into sorcery points and then convert those into spell slots, and then you take a short rest. And then you convert those 2 packed magic spell slots that just came back into sorcery points and convert them into sorcerer spell slots, and then you take a short rest. And you can do this ad infinitum. If you never need to sleep, you never take a long rest. So you're not going to get hit die back. But whatever. It's if you're celestial or something, you have cure wounds and just cure wound yourself as needed, and you're fine. It's raw. I know it sounds completely bullshit. I really looked into it because I'm thinking, no, there's got to be something we're missing here. It is raw.
What about exhaustion?
The moon.
invocation.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Oh,
don't
there's
have
an
to sleep.
invocation that gets rid of it.
Yeah, you don't have to sleep.
Oh.
And then even before that, people were arguing for it, saying sleeping does not necessarily equal a long rest. A long rest being a deliberate choice, and I'm doing air quotes here that no one can see except for these 2 guys, but a deliberate choice. Like, I am doing a long rest, where it's saying you sleep for your 8 hours, but it's not a long rest. I'm just sleeping. That one got real fuzzy. Like, I don't know if I would okay that as a DM, but once you throw in that invocation where you don't have to sleep, you're like,
Isn't a long rest specifically just 8 hours of inactivity or
Yeah.
light activity for an hour?
But it's deliberate.
Right. But so you're telling me they'd have to just also be like running on a treadmill every couple hours to make sure they don't take a long rest on accident?
the language of it makes it sound like it's a choice. I am choosing to take a long rest, just like
Oh.
you are choosing to take a short rest.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's sort of the same. Yeah. No, it's like it's not as intended. It's not rules as intended or interpreted or anything like that. It completely throws everything in the face of logic and reason and role playing, but mechanically it's raw. Obviously we've never encountered it. We had no one to try it. I'm not going to try it.
They never
But-
specified that you have to swallow the food in the PHP, so we all share like one chewed up piece of bread.
Ugh.
No, the rules of the world kind of carry over here, but I remember the coffee lock because I am a Warlock enthusiast, and I saw that. And when you mention something like this on any D&D forum, you're guaranteed a 200-page thread of people screaming at each other. Well, no, the book doesn't say you actually have to sleep. Well, no, food isn't technically a thing. It's like just ridiculousness. And I remember this particular thing, and it's like, yeah, raw, you got to be careful with raw because people will break it. You do have to add some layer of sanity to your D&D
Yeah,
games.
there's 5e is pretty good at not having a lot of it. There's a couple things. Coffee lock is one of them. The using wish to cast some simulacrum, or however you say that, to get an infinite number of level 9 wizard clone or level 20 lizard clones, and
Oh.
which we don't even need to dive into. It has nothing to do with multi-classing, but
Right.
yeah, sort of those. It's like almost like an unspoken agreement. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
The DM's just going to kind of create a rule of why it doesn't work, and that's that.
Yeah.
With the coffee light, I just looked it up. You can't create spell slots above 5th level. So even if you're level 20, you will not have anything above 5th level. But in theory, especially if you have you're traveling and you have a week of downtime, just chaining short rests because there's no limit on those, you're just going to have basically an infinite number of spells slots 1 through 5.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say 5th level just isn't high enough on a day-to-day basis when I have an unlimited amount.
Yeah. yeah, and that's not 5th level character, that's 5th level spells.
Correct.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're talking infinite cure wounds,
Mhm.
infinite haste, infinite hold person.
Again, all at 5th level.
All of these that you mentioned are upcast to a
Yes.
disturbing level. It's like, it's not hold person, it's hold 3 people, 4 people. It's
Right.
just ridiculous.
So I just wanted to get that one out of the way because if
Right.
anybody is involved with the community, they probably came across it. It's like, so I'm assuming I guess I'm speaking for you two here, but as a group, we're not really accepting that one. That's not going to be a serious consideration in our discussion of this multi-class.
I think that will be Monster Multiclass's official stance. Is the coffee lock is not bueno.
All right.
All right, how are we gonna counter the coffee lock as a DM? The gods decide you are always the ground is like a treadmill to you. You can never take a short rest ever again.
Jeez, wouldn't that be a fun way to do it? You just take away their ability to short rest. Just everybody gets hit on it.
Until you de-multi-class and change.
how do you counter it as a DM? That's kind of the point of why it's broken. Is there isn't really a,
You tell them to go home.
yeah.
Oh, like a mechanic counter.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would
yeah.
just have to come up with a rule of
Sorry, this is
no.
dumb.
Yeah, unless you could say long rest is not a choice unless you deliberately never stop moving for 8 hours. You're gonna, and then if you really want to get, if they say fine, I make a point to always be walking around, always doing something. Says well, just because you don't need to sleep, your muscles need the rest. Those are gonna give out.
Or
I don't
hey,
know, it's
here's the
just stop.
madness rules. You get 1 level every day.
Or how about you just take away the ability for you make it so that the spell slot that needs to be converted needs to be a sorcerer spell slot. Just take away.
I mean, that's where you're rejecting raw out of.
That's fine. It was.
and if we're doing
a
rules as
total
interpreted,
oversight.
you can just say no. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I would probably put my foot down.
Yeah,
Like,
or it's the flexible cast, the extra spell slots you get go away after a long rest. You can say it goes away after the night, after a 24-hour period.
yeah,
you
that
know.
works too.
I
That
don't
works
know.
too.
It's
But then you can still like
you can still
no,
cheese it a little bit, but
you operate
Does
within
anybody
reason.
remember the Goosebumps story? No, it was Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was like a lighthouse keeper, and whenever he fell asleep, a bunch of like scary ghosts came out of the water to get him. So he spent like 90 years never sleeping. I'm like, no, dude, you didn't. You're gonna pass out, and you're gonna get killed by the ghosts.
I've not seen that one.
All right, well, we'll have to all watch that together
Okay.
for further analysis.
Should
All
we
right.
then have a podcast on that episode?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, good. Of course. So anything else on the coffee lock or
No, I just want to get it out of the way.
Thank you for bringing it up.
It's
I
an
say-
interesting meme. I'll give
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when things are broken, it's up to the DM to just put their foot down and say, "No, I'm not here to play a broken game. Congrats, you found the exploit that you didn't even find. Most likely,
Right.
You found it online. Don't be proud of yourself."
Also, you're
Stop
banned.
I mean,
That's the reality.
if they were insisting on it, yeah, I
You
mean,
broke the
that's
game. Now you're banned. Perma banned.
all there is to it. But once again, we don't have those issues. If you are a DM and you're having issues with a coffee lock, we're empowering you right now. Put your foot down today. Tell your player to fuck off.
So, what other possible reason do we have, guys, to be a warlock sorcerer?
Well, the one thing that I will say is that sorcerer totally by chance. Warlocks have at least some ability to go searching for this power to an extent, but we're still getting into that realm of just like we're talking about the 0.1% of the 0.1%, and it's going to be really difficult to justify that from a character standpoint. I mean, is that it?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, is there any way to like have this where you're like, yeah, okay, that's like totally plausible and doesn't take like a 1 in a billion chance?
I think I think the
2
problem
7
here
billion.
is going to be the double dip kind of thing. It's like, all right, I'm a dragon sorcerer, and I was given warlock powers by Bahamut.
Yeah, it's like he already did that. He already
Yeah,
gave you your powers. How powerful do you think he is?
Hey, Bahamut, what? I'm bored.
All right, well,
That's not my problem.
Yeah.
I'm bored. I'm just like yelling it until he's like, all right, fine, you're level 2 warlock. Do something with that.
I mean, that being said, is it really that rare to have a warlock? I assume that most people don't do it because of the consequences and death. You generally are owned by whoever gave you the power. So it's like making deal with devils and stuff. So, but I would think like if you're a sorcerer and you're born a draconic sorcerer or a wild magic sorcerer or anything like that, and then you seek out a devil to make a deal with to get warlock powers, they'd be for it. It's like, all right, we have someone who's already powerful. I'm going to make them more powerful. They belong to me. They have to do my bidding, and then I own their ass after they die. It's like, I don't see that as this crazy rare thing. It's just most people don't want their soul sold to a devil.
correct. That's what I was saying. There is some at least agency in becoming a warlock that you can seek out and sell your soul to a devil for additional power. It's just ludicrous. That's really all it comes down to. But totally possible.
Yeah.
It's totally possible.
Especially
You're
if the
right.
character's crazy, unhinged, and power hungry, and it's make for an interesting character.
Yeah,
to play.
as long as they don't also try and say that they're lawful good.
Sure. Okay. Sure.
Yeah,
Unless you go Celestial Warlock.
This is a great combination for chaotic stupid.
It really is, and that just tends to happen in any of these multi-classes that are more min-max friendly than they are role-playing friendly. So there's certain limitations in classes that's just like from a role-playing side, and that's the point of them. They're supposed to be limitations. Anybody can smash through them and say, no, I don't want to do that. It's not a big deal. It's just not exactly the way we play.
Yeah, I'll like readily admit there's nothing particularly wrong about doing this. I just don't personally like it.
Right.
And that's, I don't really have to justify it. It's like, I just don't like it.
Sure. All right. So mechanically,
yeah. Let's talk about
mechanically, they're great.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both full charisma casters. You just need charisma, and dump the rest in con, so you have some health, and whatever, you're good to go. And then this is kind of taking the first aspect of the coffee lock without breaking it. So the pack magic spells converting into sorcery points. So sorcerers, they have their meta magic ability. They use their sorcery points to sculpt and change their spells in ways to fit the situation. And it's really the key of the class and what differentiates them from a wizard. And meta magic is really good. This is stuff like quicken a spell. If a spell costs an action, it only takes a bonus action to cast it.
Right.
You could twin a spell, so if it normally targets one person, it targets two. You can empower it, so it deals max damage, stuff like that.
And twinning with the Warlock is just, so good. Because they're already upcasted everything they do.
Yeah.
So any of the Warlock spells, just like, that's really nice.
Right. Yeah, but so what limits the sorcerer is they're limited on sorcery points. Their sorcery points matches their level. They get them back after a long rest, and like quickening a spell costs 2. So at 4th level you can do it twice.
Right.
Stuff like that. Or you could give like people disadvantage on a save, and I think that costs 3 sorcery points. So it goes fast. But now you have your pact magic, which you can convert into sorcery points. So you could really just kind of fuel your sorcery points really well with this. Then you get them back on the short rest.
Right.
I think the best bet is probably, not best bet, a good kind of combination I saw is Star Wars Sorcerer level 1. And so you get your con saves proficient, which is great for concentration saving throws. And then do 3 levels into Warlock and the rest in the Sorcerer. The 3 levels into Warlock are going to give you 2 second level spells, which will convert to 4 sorcery points.
Per short rest.
Yeah, that is the Sorcerer capstone. Think about that for a second.
Oh.
The Sorcerer capstone is, on a short rest, you get 4 sorcery points back. You could achieve that by level 4. Level 2, because you don't, level 5, because you don't get the sorcery till.
You don't get which sorcery?
Yeah, you don't get sorcery points till level 2. So 3 in Warlock, 2 in Sorcerer.
Okay.
Level 5, you have the level 20 Sorcerer capstone already. Which is nuts.
Yeah.
And then you're just a consistent damage dealer. Take Eldritch Blast, and then you quicken it. So you cast 2 Eldritch Blasts on your turn.
Why would you take Eldritch Blast? Seems like an odd choice for a Warlock.
Will, of course, being sarcastic.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, then take that Agonizing Blast where you add your Charisma modifier to it. And then it's pretty much close to every time you attack, do a quick and Eldritch Blast followed up by a regular Eldritch Blast.
Wait.
Just an insane amount of consistent damage.
You can quicken a cantrip?
Yeah. Any spell that takes an action. It then becomes a bonus action.
And then you could also cast another cantrip because you can cast a cantrip if you quicken. Oh.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah, that rule where if you cast a spell as a bonus action, then and you want to cast another spell, the other spell has to be a cantrip. It's sort of hidden in player handbook. It catches up a lot of people, but it is a rule. So you're just doing 2 cantrips.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you get 4 back every short rest, sorcery points every short rest, and
so
you already have some from your sorcerer levels, and so I guess I wouldn't say that's every attack, but
so normally we call the Warlock and Eldritch Blast faucet. I'm just imagining here it's more like taking a sledgehammer to the faucet and just letting the water spray out all over your entire
Eldritch Blast
tile.
fire hydrant.
Yeah, that's about right. This just doesn't feel good.
This is a very min-maxy way to go about it.
It just hurts. I don't know. Like it's good. It's just almost too good. As you said, it's a capstone at level 5.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And also then for the 3 levels of Warlock, you get 2 invocations,
right.
which is great flavor and stuff. And
All
you'd
the
probably take
invocations.
Agonizing Blast and then whatever the hell else you want.
Right.
Something good for flavor, utility, or one of the other ones to
Modify
power up your-
Eldritch Blast.
Again, yeah. The sniper one where it comes 300 feet range or, crazy stuff like that. You get your packed feature. So, the Fae or the Great Old One and stuff like that. The first ability of that. And the packed boon. I think I'm screwing up names here. But like you could Pact of the Chain where you get your fancy familiar or the tome.
Right.
Where you get the book with additional cantrips and stuff. And then there's an invocation where you can put rituals in the book. And so that gives you a bunch of utility out of combat. And it's just good stuff.
This is a very complex combination.
Yes.
You have to do your research. You have to know what you're playing. And I think my problem with it is the only reward is you're just mechanically better in combat.
Right. Yeah.
You do get your utility somewhat, but the reality is you just will put out damage to a level that the DM's probably going to get frustrated with you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to end up in a forest with 127 displacer beams. One nice thing.
Check out last episode for that reference.
One nice thing is the errata did clarify. This was a big controversy years ago. The invocations, the real flavor of the Warlock class, they did not clarify whether it was Warlock level or character level to get this. So some of the higher ones requiring like level 15, you get a couple levels of Warlock and you can take them.
Oh,
that's no longer the case.
That's good.
So
It's
you are limited to some of their best invocations are the lower level ones.
Right.
So this isn't a big thing, but they did unbreak that aspect.
Yeah, no, that's good that they did that. I mean, you're level 19, take 1 level dip into Warlock and take the level 20 invocations or whatever. Though I don't think you get them a level 2 dip, but
or the Chains of Kasuri?
Kasuri? I don't know.
That doesn't matter. You can cast Hold Monster at will.
Yeah, and they get ridiculous. And at level 15.
You must finish a long rest before you can use this again, but a free Hold Monster every long rest.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. It's not crazy, but still. There's a lot of really good invocations.
Yeah.
Point is, that sounds really broken. That's dumb.
Yeah, they have it specifically in the errata because people were doing shit like this.
Yeah. Devil Sight could be a good one where you could see in both magical and non-magical darkness. So, all right, picture this. You're a sorcerer, and with the Warlock Devil Sight, you're not super limited on your spell slots of only having 2, so you could kind of be a little more free with casting darkness. Cast on a group of people, you could see into it fine, and then hit them with your quick and Eldritch Blast throughout the encounter, every single roll with advantage.
That particular one has always been a part of Warlock builds. If you can see in darkness becomes a very powerful spell.
Yeah,
right.
And usually limited because they can do it twice. But now they have sorcerer slots.
Any fun subclass mixes, guys? I'm defeated.
You can do whatever you want with this, and you're just going to be really over the top.
I think Draconic is a little redundant because it's Draconic, like it gives you a boosted AC, but Warlock gives you proficiency in light armor, so that kind of matches. Then you have Elemental Affinity, where you'll get some additional damage with Elemental attacks, but you're probably just casting Eldritch Blast, which is not an elemental attack, so I don't think that's going to come up much.
Right.
At 14th, you could fly and get wings, so sure, great, but I mean, that's at 14th, and at that point, there's a bunch of other ways to fly. And then at 18th, you're probably not going to get too multi-classing, so.
What's the elemental? You do get some kind of damage bonus, don't you?
Yeah, so it's at 6th level. If you cast a spell that deals the damage associated with your Draconic ancestry, so you pick a color of dragon when you take this subclass at level 1. You add your charisma modifier to 1 damage roll that spell. So if you're a red dragon and you cast Firebolt, you get to add your charisma modifier to it. It's like, why would you generally just be...
The Warlock bonuses to Eldritch Blast. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
can I be a Force Dragon?
I'm a Force Dragon Tiefling. No, go home. No. Off the table. Get out of here. But yeah, that's another thing to mention, though, is the Tieflings do get the free darkness spell at 5th level.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the. That's why a warlock tiefling is just. It's so played out. It's such a gimme. So,
I didn't know they got
Yeah.
5th level. Is that the only race that gives you something at a higher level?
No,
No,
a couple of those do that. The Triton, I can remember at a higher level, you get more innate spellcasting.
But yeah,
Oh.
Infernal Legacy, you get Thaumaturgy as a cantrip. 3rd
Mhm.
level, you get to cast Hellish Rebuke at 7th level once per day. And then 5th level, you get Darkness.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a
They're-
couple races that do that.
yeah.
It's a great race. I am also a Tiefling fan.
Yeah, you're a tiefling warlock fan, and I want you to just sit on that as you tell people not to play a warlock sorcerer.
That's because it's my thing. Not because I don't like it.
Wild magic we've talked about before. It's just like a good subclass. You know, it's fun. You get the tides of chaos, get advantage on some attack rolls. It's
Yeah,
good.
and then the Wild Magic Surge.
And the Wild
roll,
Magic Surge is fun.
Which I don't know if it would come up too much, though, with this, because it has to be on a Sorcerer spell of 1st level or higher. So all your quickening Eldritch Blast and grinding up your Sorcerer spell slots into sorcery points to do more quickening Eldritch Blast, I think is going to see you not casting a lot of 1st level or higher sorcery spells.
So how boring does that sound to you? Like playing this character where you're
very boring,
right?
yeah.
What are you gonna do? Another Eldritch Blast. Okay, cool. You do a whole crap ton of damage. All right, next turn. What do you do? I'm gonna do another Eldritch Blast. Okay, this sucks. I hate that idea.
I think I don't know, as a group, I think we do actually err towards more interesting characters.
Hopefully, we try.
Mechanically, we're not always the best, but I don't know. I think we do underrate just being good at this game. Like, I think we, in the 8 years we played this game, I've been the only person who ever did sword and board.
Yeah.
It's not particularly fun in combat, but it does work.
What was your sword and board character?
The Goliath who smashed that gem and it instantly got disintegrated.
Oh, that was awesome.
I think it was 3 sessions.
Yeah, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, that kind of sucked.
I think my character talked into trying it.
Yeah.
It was
I thought it was funny.
a
It was
good try.
funny. And then I was gone.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think back through all our characters. We always try and make characters with versatility where we could do different things. And
I mean,
it's pretty rare any one of us, and even like the other members of our group, come to the table where it's, for the most part, where it's, yeah, I have this guy, he's really just consistently good at doing damage by swinging the sword over and over and over, or casting Eldritch Blast over and over and over.
yeah. I mean, I'm playing a paladin right now, but it's definitely not optimized.
Paladins are not,
They're just-
they have their own thing going
Right,
on.
but like they're impossible to really make just that consistently good that you're like really referencing here. And they are consistently good, but they're not like
I can do that for 19 hours.
right. Exactly. They have their limited times where they shine. They have their times where they're, just
A
stuck
gimped
there.
fighter,
Yeah, exactly.
My ranger, the melee polearm ranger Hatzar and the half orc, was kind of consistent like that. He did have spell slots, so there was a little bit of the power level going down as you got further along in the day, but they were more utility stuff for the most
Right.
part. He just kind of consistently was able to do good damage and control the battlefield a bit, and yeah. But I also remember feeling bored with the character.
Yeah, it's fun to be bad at things. I don't know. I find it fun.
Or you have a bunch of really good things, but only like limited use, so you have to strategically use them
Yeah.
and how to mix these together and when to get the most benefit. That's what I like.
right, exactly.
Like a full spellcaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's nice to actually have to put some thought into your character and what you do on a turn. It's once again one of those. There's nothing wrong with playing it the other way. It's just that's the way I enjoy it. I want some challenge to my turn, even like have some options here.
This is actually a class that kind of eschews my personal view. And it's that like a champion fighter or a pure way of the open fist monk, they have limited ways to do things, but they have such mobility and such power that on a battlefield, every single fight is going to be different with who you're hitting, who you're not hitting, who you're screwing with, essentially.
Right.
And you can create this kind of very simple but very tactically minded character.
I agree with that with Way of the Open Hand, but the champion fighter, I don't know
Champion
if I
fighter
see it.
struggles with it, but with feats you can kind of make it happen.
With feats, yes.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But this character, I feel like every fight's going to be, now I'm a tiefling, I cast darkness, and I just open up Eldritch Blast crap and then cycle through spells I shouldn't have. It's just, I don't know. There could be fun there. I think it's an alienating kind of subclass.
Yeah. I think me personally, because I just know how I go about these things, I'd probably try and gimp myself a little bit on subclass choices. Like I'd do like a Divine Soul and a Shadow Sorcerer. Just things that are kind of, well, okay, those aren't fully against each other because you can be an evil Divine Soul. But
Wait, are you talking about Celestial Warlocks?
what did I say?
Divine Soul, which is the Celestial Warlock
Right.
Sorcerer. So.
You're right. Man, I always mess those up. But yeah, like a Celestial Warlock, and then something that's like an evil Divine Soul. And this is kind of played out here because we've talked about it a couple times, but like the opposing patrons more or less, and have it like the gripping fight between good and evil internally. It can be fun. It'd make it like I said, that I can't even think of something off the top of my head that mechanically like clicks with that. But just for a role playing side to keep things interesting, so that it's not just I don't know, I have a draconic bloodline and also I sold my soul to the devil.
Right.
Something to note with the Divine Soul and Celestial Warlocks, though, is that does open up the cleric spell list to some extent.
Correct.
So now you are a heal faucet as well.
Yep.
So I kind of struggle with that initially with my character, especially in this current campaign. His clerics do kind of feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not the most fun you can have with this game.
I think that's now that we're getting into higher levels, the amount of time, the rounds from full health to, oh shit, I need healing are longer.
Yes.
So we got a little bit more time. So you're like, okay, cool. I can like cast a spell and not feel like I'm wasting my entire turn. But I'd really like to level up. Kevin, what do I got to do to make us level up? You're like, just get through the story.
Yeah, it's milestone leveling.
I know.
All right. New pact, Jared. No more of this fluff shit. We're going to fucking speed run the rest of Out of the Abyss.
Oh, that's not fun.
No, it is. We got to get the high levels, man, so we can have fun. Wait. Oh.
We need to avoid the fun so we can get to the fun. Yeah. Who needs character building? Character building is fun.
It is.
I love this. This is a great campaign. We're killing it.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody, for getting better at D&D.
We did not fight a thing last session, and I think we all had a good time.
I have the shakes because on Tuesday, we had an entire session, 0 combat. On Wednesday, entire session, 0 combat. And by the end of our Wednesday session, I was like, I need to kill something. Like,
This is what happens when you spend too much time as a paladin.
Yep.
You learn that fun is just killing people in different ways.
It has actually nothing to do with the player character. I think it's just a residual thing of playing the DM for 2 years, I think. It just, there's always something. You're always doing something. You're very active. When you're role playing, there's a lot of just sitting there and like letting other people talk and not really, I don't know, it's just talking. It's not rolling dice and killing stuff. But as a DM, you're always rolling dice, and up here I can always kill stuff. No, that doesn't work.
In my head, I can murder people.
We'll just get together and play some board games. How about that?
No, but actually, it's just like I absolutely love the role playing side of D&D, but I have learned about myself that like the combat is what I'm really number one. I'm there for. And it's crazy to me because I talk about role playing. I love role playing, but like if I go an entire week and we haven't done any combat, I'm like, damn, like we should do that again.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I think we need to flip it. Say we do an entire week of nothing, but just dry back-to-back dungeon crawly combat,
Yes.
you'd miss the role playing.
No.
I know I'm like that. We'll have like really combat, like when I was a player, have really combat heavy sessions.
Right.
And like, all right, this is dragging on. I'm kind of getting tired of this. I want some role playing and some story and character moments.
Right.
And then we'll have an entire session of role plays. Like, yeah, I'd really like to roll some dice and engage things tactfully. And
Yeah. There's a
I want to
balance.
mix. Yeah.
There's the 3 pillars of D&D.
But exploration's the worst.
Is it?
I don't. No, obviously, I'm not going to just seriously say just complete blanket statement like that. But in our groups, we kind of always gloss over it. Like the traveling exploration side of things. That's just, we've always struggled to make it engaging. Or we pretend that it's like, I did it in Out of the Abyss, really. Like there was a lot of traveling in it. And I think for the most part it was fun, but if you really think back through it, it wasn't really travel exploration pillar. It was story and combat pillars under the guise of you're traveling. Just made stuff happen and chained these events together.
That's fair, but look at it like the crypt we found while traveling through the Underdark. That was like a thing that I'm sure was kind of along the path that you were forcing us to go into as a DM, not in a bad way, but just like that was expected that we were going to get there. Mm-hmm. But it was up to us to take that initiative and go, let's search in
That's
here.
not exploration. That's a pop-up dungeon.
It's still exploration.
No,
though.
it's not. We like
So, okay, then what does exploration mean to you guys?
exploration really is what it is. You give people an idea and they get to choose where they go. This is the reason exploration is so underutilized is because it falls so heavily on the DM to create a world worth exploring. The world is a big place and your characters can move fast. If you're just doing the points A and B, that's not too bad. But if you have to fill out the entire world, and it's like, we go left. What's left? The forest. What's in the forest? As the DM, it's hard to be like, all right, I created a 9,000 acre forest for you to explore if you want to. And that's why it does actually kind of fall to the wayside in most campaigns. And most people just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'll agree that it is more difficult on the DM, but like a lot of DMing is just being able to create that stuff on the fly.
But at the same time, if you really do want to do exploration heavy, you can't just come up with stuff on the fly.
It's not always going to be extremely interesting.
Imagine creating an entire town where every house had a unique person that they could have an experience with.
After a while, they all just get the same voice.
They all get the same voice, and they all get that, what are you doing in my house? Go away. Like, no, you have to, if you really want to get on that exploration angle, you have to have like a weird fetish for building worlds.
Or do a hex crawl. Tomb of Annihilation apparently has that a lot.
I don't know what a hex crawl is.
We've never done it. I don't know the specifics of how it works, but you have your map and it's a large hex, and you are in this hex, and I think you have the option to explore that hex and roll some dice, and here's what happens. Move through the hex to this hex, and then here's some basic information. Like it almost feels kind of board gamey a little bit.
Okay.
Of like, I could picture like here's the pawn that represents your party, and move them along.
Right.
And here's what I haven't specifically done it, so I might be completely off base, but I know the big focus on that is exploration.
Okay.
So that's another way to handle it. But.
Yeah, that's exploration does become a thing if you create a big enough dungeon. I played this without any of you years and years ago, like the world's biggest dungeon, and it was just a dungeon generator where you could go anywhere, do anything, and it was just always exploration based.
Oh, okay.
And the guy I was playing with, I was at Game Shop. It was not very fun, but it gave me the idea that maybe there's fun to be had there.
Right.
And, it really is a lot of work on the DM side.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one potential issue I have with that is you like get into this weird realm where the DM it's kind of on the DM to make the fun a lot there, where they go down a hallway and you're like, well, I didn't really think anything's down this hallway. So then they get to the end of it and you're like, there's nothing there. And they're like, aw, we wanted there to be something there. And they go down another one, you're like, nothing there. And they do it like 20 times. And a lot of times I think players will just kind of get burned out on that. And so it's like up to you to just now you're putting things in there because, okay, you went down the hallway, fine. There's a I don't know, a squirrel. Cool. Interact with the squirrel.
Well, that's right. So
Interact with the squirrel is my favorite part of D&D.
for this style of play, and again, we've talked to in previous episodes, is the epic story versus sandbox. It's kind of coming back to that same thing. It comes with a lot of ad-libbing, doing on seat of your pants, and it's in a sense, so you do let the players sort of create the world. They said, "Oh, I bet there's something neat down that hallway. Go down that hallway." Your initial kind of gut was, "No, that there's." I didn't think about it. It's like, well, the players said there's gonna be something down there. All right, this event that happens over here, I'm gonna move to this end of this hallway, and here's what happens, and then deal with the ramifications going forward.
Yeah, and that's the way to play, right? You just make stuff up on the fly. It's great.
Sometimes, yeah. I like a loose outline and then fill it in as you go. And sometimes it bites you in the ass as you contradict yourself. It's like, oh, that didn't really make sense back there, but oh well.
Yeah, I think that's it's a skill you get better at. I'm sure.
Yeah. But I mean, there's always going to be mistakes. But I think for the most part, people are if everyone's having fun, who cares if it contradicts itself?
Right.
We're not writing epic novels.
I'm not here for fun. I'm here for narrative consistency and raw mechanics. I'm a sorcerer warlock.
I do want to try my hand at like serious world building. I'm thinking
I've talked about it too.
Once I'm done DMing Out of the Abyss, and as like playing again, kind of use the time I spent DMing building a world, and if it takes me a year, whatever, and having a map, building a map, and here's everything that's happened and all that, and then we'll start that campaign up with talking with you guys in the group, like, here's the map. Where do you want to be from? Where do you want to start? Why are you guys together? And we're just kind of going from there.
Yeah, I totally agree. That'd
be cool.
That's been really calling to me as well recently.
Yeah. Well, fuck you. I said it first.
We can have different worlds. That's what's amazing about it.
No, you can't. We have to play in Faerun. We only have one map on the wall.
Oh, we do actually have a map on our wall. That's a giant Faerun map. Love it. Absolutely love it. But no, I mean, like, it's something that I personally am like trying to round out myself as a DM. Because I noticed, like, as I said, I've DM'd 2 years now. First year we did Storm King's Thunder. Though everybody had fun, it was great. I personally look back on that as a train wreck because I had no idea what I was doing. It was my first time DMing, and it was just like, I don't know, it wasn't great. Again, everybody had fun, so it wasn't a problem. Now we're, went into a homebrew one. It was really fun. I noticed a lot of things I didn't do well. Great. But like, now I'm doing a full role play one, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm getting a lot better at role playing. Now I want to do like Dungeons of the Mad Mage because I suck at making dungeons. They're really hard to make. They're really hard to make fun. It'd be great to just play a campaign that's like, here's good dungeons. Learn how to do good dungeons, and just take all those and like, as you said, just like start making your own world because it's like, this is mine now. This is my entire world, and like, let's do it. So that's like long-term goal is we need to just, make our own D&D campaigns.
I personally I love that. The only thing I liked about DMing was sitting down 4 hours before the session and then coming up with everything the player could possibly do in my head, creating outlines and just like branching storylines. Making dungeons is so fun, but you do have to get in the right headspace. You have to understand the mechanic deeply. And you have to figure out what's going to be a fun challenge versus what's going to be a not fun challenge.
Right, right. What book was it? I think it's Xanathar's adds a lot on traps. Because that's something that I would say underutilize is traps in general. And like they have ways to set up like encounter traps where it's literally like a combat that starts that you have to disarm this trap. You have to avoid these things. And like that was kind of eye-opening because I've always looked at traps as you walk through this square and everybody makes a dexterity check, and you either take damage or you do not take damage,
right?
Or you find it before. Pretty plain.
A very binary thing.
Right, exactly. But the idea of like you walk past this square, and now you guys have to run 120 feet in that direction and pass these checks and do all these things. It's like, oh, great. There's so many things you can do in dungeons, and I know this sounds like really kind of obvious, but like there's just so many things you can do in dungeons that I have not been utilizing, and we need to as a group. You do great dungeons. You've only done one, but you got it down.
I really celebrate the idea of being a DM at a soul level. I love creating weird stuff, different stuff, and fun stuff. But yeah, I've been too lazy to do it for a long time.
You were saying you were thinking about doing Dungeons of the Mad Mage.
Yeah, looking in that book, I'm very excited for it. I think it is a dungeon crawl from level like 5 to level 20, which is insane. And there's so much there if you want to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should definitely do that after Out of the Abyss.
Yeah, I'd be up for it.
Yeah, then you can get through that so that I can get through Waterdeep Dragon Heist and then do Dungeons of the Mad Mage myself. I'll see how you run it first, and then I can run it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't think there's a lot of spoilers on the board. All right, yeah. But yeah, Dungeons of the Mad Mage, I'm excited. DMing, it's fun. Warlock Sorcerer, mixed feelings.
Like I say, we got way off topic for the past 20, 30 minutes there. I guess, but
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Like I said, it all just kind of works. I feel like there wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah, Warlock Sorcerer,
it works. Do whatever you want. It's like I said, Draconic kind of is a little redundant, but even still not bad. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Warlock subclasses, they're all fine to mesh with a Sorcerer. It just depends what flavor you want, what first couple level abilities you like for what you're going for.
I think the challenge of this multi-class is paving your own path and not just becoming an Eldritch Blast faucet. If you have some idea that you're like, oh, this is like actually interesting, I want to actually cast the spells that I have and recognize that this is suboptimal. You are not this consistently good Eldritch Blast faucet, and you just have, I don't know, a lot of versatility. Sorcerers and Warlocks do get great spells, so maybe you have a focus. I don't know, but there's optimal ways to play it, and there's suboptimal. And I think the suboptimal ways are going to provide you a lot more excitement in and out of combat.
Yeah.
Strong agree.
Cool. So I think that's enough to move on to the monster of the week. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this midway through the episode this time instead of at the end. If you have not yet, follow us on Twitter. It is monsters_multi. We discuss D&D things and give you previews on next week's episode, and feel free to send us any and all D&D questions. It's been a big thing recently. Send me homebrews as well. I've had some fun telling people why their homebrews aren't great, and I'm gonna do it. You have to accept it, but I give valid criticism, I think.
Yeah, or criticize us if you disagree with what we said, thought we didn't elaborate on something, thought we missed something in our discussions, have ideas of something you want us to go into.
We will entertain whatever you say to us on Twitter. We have a history. It's like, hey, you should do X, and we just do it immediately. That's the kind of feedback you dream of, right?
And leave us a review on iTunes, or I guess it's Apple Podcasts now, but
okay,
whatever. Reviews are really big there, I guess. If anyone listens to us on Stitcher, our statistics say not many do, but if you do, Stitcher accepts reviews as well. As far as I can tell, Spotify does not, so that's fine.
All right. Okay, that's enough self-promotion.
Yes.
On to our monster of the week.
This week's monster is the Hags, part 2. So a few episodes ago, we covered Hags from the Monster Manual. We split this into 2 parts just because each Hag's very, very unique. We didn't feel every individual one warranted its own episode, but all of them together would have been a little much because they're also kind of unique in how you set them up and all that. So originally, we covered the Hags from the Monster Manual, which was the Green Hag, the Night Hag, and the Sea Hag. And now this week, we're covering the Hags from Volo's Guide to Monsters, which includes an entire chapter written on Hags, which is really awesome. And then the Annis Hag and the Bheur Hag, which I feel like I'm saying wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
What's the spelling there, Kevin?
Bheur. And
Bheur. Bheur?
Bheur Hag.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a cold too. That's their whole thing.
Bheur
Yeah.
Hag. Wow. Okay, now I hate it.
Anyways, so Hags, if you missed the last episode and somehow aren't familiar with Hags, they're very iconic. They're basically kind of the old school cartoon witches in a sense, where they have bubbling cauldrons and they steal children and lost in the woods and swamps and mess with people and all that. They're kind of warped, outcast, fey creatures in a sense. They have terrible, powerful magic, and they're all very manipulative intelligence. They look to undermine people, corrupt people, drive them to evil. Each hag kind of has a little different thing of what exactly how they're looking to mess with people and corrupt them, but ultimately it comes back to that. Sea hags want to make everyone ugly. Night hags want to see people turn and fall into evil. I don't remember green hags specifically. What was
Steal
green hags?
children? I don't know.
They all want to steal children.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
they eat children to then birth a child, which is how they reproduce. It's terrible. And so that was Hags from the Monster Manual. Now we have Volo's Guide to Monsters, the whole chapter on them, which really dived into them a lot deeper. And with all those chapters in Volo's, it's really great. A lot of really good stuff there. Elaborate on things further. One aspect, or a couple aspects I really liked, is in the chapter on them, it dove into their layers and a hierarchy in Hags. So taking them beyond just the stat block, which the highest challenge rating hag I think is level 8 or something like that.
Right. Outside of its coven.
Yeah. The Bheur hag.
Yeah.
Challenge rating is 7. But then it introduced the concept of, and I am not kidding here, aunties and grandmothers.
Oh.
So you have the hags, and then if one's been around for a while, they're basically immortal in terms of their time span of how long they live. If one's been around for a while and gains a lot of respect, they become an auntie. And then you have the rare one, the ultra powerful, terrible, evil hags that manipulate and control the entire world, and their grandmothers.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if the aunties and grandmothers, they're where they live, their home, which, are terrible caves, carved out tree stumps, giant skulls, things like that, they become their layers in the sense of like a dragon's lair and other really powerful entities' layers. And so they get layer actions and they warp the land around them. And this is stuff like birds, rodents, snakes, spiders, and toads are found in great profusion. Beasts of an intelligence score of 2 or lower are charmed by the hags to attack anybody in the area. You'll find strange carved figurines, twig fetishes, and ragdolls magically appear in trees, kind of like Blair Witch stuff, real creepy. And then there's specific ones to the different hags. It's like the Bheur hag, which is all kind of based around winter and cold. Small avalanches and snow intermittently fall, blocking paths and burying intruders. A buried creature is restrained and has to hold its breath until it's dug out. So just getting to fight this thing could be an issue of having avalanches fall in your party and risk people suffocating. Human-sized blocks of ice appear, containing frozen corpses. These corpses might break free and attack as zombies, or their spirits might attack as specters. Blizzards come without warning. A blizzard occurs once every 2d12 hours and lasts 1d3 hours. During a storm, creatures moving over land travel at half normal speed, and normal visibility is reduced by 30 feet.
And these are all the regional effects?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this
yeah.
is just the Bheur hag.
Right.
Which
right.
I'll get to the other ones in a minute, but so the Bheur hag it actually has a stat block in Volo's. And this thing is just nasty. So it's all based around winter, and it's the most comfortable during the winter and the cold.
Right.
And as I said at the beginning, the different hags like to cause misery in different ways. The Bheur hag loves to see people do terrible, desperate things due to terrible, harsh conditions from winter.
Yeah. It's messed up.
Yeah. And then from their layer actions, they have the ability to cause these like almost daily blizzards. They like to see people desperately try and eat leather scraps in their shoes and really just die of malnutrition and choking on it because they have nothing else to eat. They like to see somebody attack and eat another person for food. They like to see someone desperately given to doing something, anything terrible just to get somewhere warm. I mean, and they have the ability to make winters more harsh and terrible and all that.
Yeah. They're awful.
Yeah.
They're awful, and I mean, just amazing to put into your D&D sessions. I mean, that's
right.
Like perfect setup right there. That's going to cause some problems. Nobody is going to want to have a Bheur hag along anywhere. I mean, within hundreds of miles of their home.
No,
that sounds awful.
No, yeah, it's they have at will hold person. By the way, think about that.
At will?
Yeah, at will hold person.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, at will ray of frost. 3 times a day, cold and cold, ice storm, wall of ice. Once a day, control weather.
So what I really love about this particular hag is it's giving me what I don't feel like the original 3 from the monster manual were giving, which is just something that has some terrifying spell casting.
Yes.
And I hear hags, again, we've said it 100 times, you think witches, you think magic, but then you look at their coven spells, they're pretty good. They add a lot, but nothing that like really just scares me. That scares me. Hold person at will is just dangerous.
Right. And 3 times a day Cone of Cold?
Yeah.
Cone of Cold's insane. That's what, 6th level spell?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And
It's
no, 5th
powerful.
level. 5th level.
Okay.
Sorry. And that's
Stronger than a fireball.
It's a cold fireball.
8d8.
Yeah.
In a cone. So I mean that's
And if the person's held, they automatically fail to save.
Yeah, whole person is actually at will is not all that threatening for this particular creature because it stacks best when you've got melee characters.
Yeah.
Of it.
Well, then
So-
hags have minions. That's
And then that's
ridiculously
exactly
common.
when
There it
yes,
is.
challenge rating 8 becomes a challenge rating
7, yeah.
15 if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Right. That's and getting to that original point as well. The first 3 always felt like, yeah, that'd be really bad if you're fighting a coven. This one, you don't need a coven.
No.
You're just anybody fighting this. A level 7 group taking an entire adventuring day to get to its lair and go through all of that headache and then have to fight this thing. If there are any minions at all, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like you're done. It's great.
Yeah, and a hag's minion could really be anything. There's guidelines of like common stuff for it, but just with how manipulative they are, how they strike deals and stuff like that, there was talking about in the chapter in Volo's instances of hags having dragons show up as minions, being able to summon a dragon.
Even a hydra?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Vindicated after all these years.
It's great.
Yeah.
Sure, I had no idea what I was doing, but in your face, Kevin. Hags coming out of the ocean, riding frogs with hydras behind them is 1, totally viable, and 2, badass. So, all right, that's the end of the episode. Sorry, I ruined your train of thought there.
No, you're fine. So you could, but you can with hags justify ridiculous combinations like that. Sea hags riding up on a beach to siege a town's kind of ridiculous because that's not their style. But them having those as minions works. So I'll give you 50% of that.
Yes, vindication, 100%.
Yeah. And then the Bheur hag also has maddening feast. So if there's a enemy within 5 feet of her that died in the past minute, she could start eating it just as an action, like rip off its arm and bite into it. Each creature that the hag wants within 60 feet of it needs to make a DC 15 wisdom saving throw or be frightened for a minute. This type of frightened makes the creatures incapacitated, can't understand what others say, can't read, and speaks only in gibberish. The DM controls the creature's movement, which is erratic. They do get a save at each turn, though. That's just an action.
It's cool. I don't love that.
Why?
Because, well, I love it flavor-wise, but mechanically speaking, I'm not, like, extremely impressed by that. But, I mean, the idea of her just grabbing some flesh and eating it is pretty terrifying. But I guess what I don't like is the idea of seasoned adventurers getting so freaked out by that they then are incoherent messes for a minute. And then when it happens again, they just get over it.
But this is, I think there's one other instance. I don't recall exactly what it was in the Monsters Manual. We've talked about this. I don't know if we've ever done it on the podcast, but what happens when a player goes down? Is the creature intelligent enough to attack it again? Is it intelligent enough to attack the greater threats? Or is it twisted enough to try and mutilate the already dead person?
Right. Okay.
And this is an example of a mechanic where it's like, oh, all right, your wizard goes down. It's like, oh, no, it's fine. We'll get them back up. The Bheur hag rips her arm off and eats it.
It does have to be dead, though. But which it makes it more inclined, you're right, to go and fully kill it. But even then, at these levels, you're like, well, we've got Revivify. It's fine. And it's like, well, now you're revivified without an arm.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's the horror of that. It's like, all right, she's now tearing up my friend who we thought was going to be fine because that's how most combats go.
Right. Yeah, okay. That's fair. Man, now that you put it like that, I'm getting squeamish. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got me.
Yep.
Even season adventures. We really are, when we're role playing as season adventures, I think we are removed from this idea of very permanent death for these special creatures that are marching through the realm and saving the world. It's like, no, we can die, we can be butchered, we can be eaten by a horrible snow hag. It's it can happen. And that I guess that is kind of the flavor of the horror, but I do agree it's not the best flavor, but they're really terrifying creatures.
Yeah, and when you put it like that, it does change things up a little bit. That's terrifying. I'll give it to you. And they also just these Bheur Hags. One thing I like about them is they have enough spell casting to really be able to do that as much as they want. Once again, touching on the fact that a lot of these hags, unless they're with their covens, seem like they would run out really quickly of interesting things they can do. That Cone of Cold 3 times a day is perfect. Do you know what Ice Storm does? I guess I can look that up really quick. But
I think that's a bigger one.
you create that's Wall of Ice. I don't want that. Ice Storm is the hailstorm in like a 40 or 20 foot radius, 40 feet high. Each creature in there takes 2d8 damage, bludgeoning, and 4d6 cold damage. So it's just a really good AoE damage spell that I guess it wouldn't have total immunity to.
Yeah, it'd still be taking the bludgeon.
It would take the bludgeoning damage.
Yeah. It is immune to cold.
I wonder how that would be used then. Like, is it really that worthwhile? Is it something that is being used beforehand? Like, it's not going to cast it and then just stand in there. 20 feet's also not that huge of a radius.
They can create a part of the battlefield that you can't go to. Going back to the scary thing,
Yeah,
one
I
of
was
your
just about to
party
say.
goes down. It's like, now they're in an ice storm.
Yep, making
They're not
erratic
getting them
behavior, and
back.
it's like, hey, go get them. Good luck.
That's something that will kill even very, 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 very high level party members. Is if they are stuck in an AoE ice storm making death saves, they are at serious disadvantage.
Yeah.
Outside of a natural 20, they are basically hosed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, they'd automatically fail their dex save every time. So that hits, and then dex save every time. That hits, and that's an automatic fail. And then they still have to roll, too, for the regular death save, which they could also fail. And just... luckily, it wouldn't be critting to give them 2 fails, because it's not a melee attack. But
Right.
But yeah, that makes sense to me from like I'm an evil hag type mentality. Is like, hey, I'm going to eat that.
let me tenderize it.
I'm going to tenderize that, and you guys are getting Cone of Cold until I make you into lunch.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is...
Bheur Hag's awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing to note, this creature actually, 17 natural armor is good.
Yeah. Very.
91 health
Little
is
limited.
6 more than the Displacer Beast.
Right. Which was a challenge rating 3.
Right.
And there's just like a gulf of difference. You can't nuke a Displacer Beast that easily. It's a very straightforward combat. You can nuke this creature almost out of the gate if the DM isn't careful.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right. You cannot be afraid to use those hold persons and stop the melee.
And have minions, and also not be straightforward combat. That's the whole thing with the hags. They're so intelligent and manipulative, and that they should never just be, you're in a field, fight 1-on-1,
Right.
Or 1-on-4, whatever.
Right.
They should always fight on their terms.
Yeah, definitely.
Or ideally never fight,
or ideally never fight at all. Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to have your hold persons, you're going to have your ice storms, making it like, very difficult to get to them potentially. I mean, you can set up a lot, and it's on the DM to set up an area that works to their advantage.
Right.
Even if it's something as over the top, and I say that in air quotes, as making it like they can put an ice storm and they stand at the back of it and you have to run through it to get to them. It's like, wow, that's really cheesy. Why would you do that? It's like, because it's their lair. They set up here because they knew if anybody walked in, they could just create an ice storm that's big enough to just stop anyone from walking through. So yeah, it's only 20 feet across, and deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as you said, they're fighting on their terms, and it's going to be some terms that are weighing heavily in their favor. And the 17 AC really does make up for the, I won't say make up for, but 91 HP with 17 AC is tough. I mean, that's not going to be a hit every single round.
Right.
And if you are, hold person. And if that's too much, maddening feast. Eat a corpse.
Yeah.
Do it because as you said, you're going to have minions, so sometimes it can be tough to have a corpse lying around, which is odd unless you like set it up there from the start where it's got some corpses in its lair. Maybe it will. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like a minion goes down and it's like, yep, gonna eat you. And now everybody's got their erratic movement and inability to do anything besides be frightened. Does that even go away once they take damage?
I don't think so.
Ugh.
I don't have it currently up.
I do.
Else.
It doesn't look like it does.
Yeah.
Yep. Does not end with damage. So they can just be running around in an ice storm, taking a lot of damage every single turn.
Another thing to note is if this creature is in some kind of like an ice cave, there is no limit to their movement.
Right.
They can climb on it, they can walk on it, and your party probably shouldn't be able to.
Right. Yeah, and then the chapter in Volos gives layer actions. All hags have, so it's on initiative count 20. They can pass through solid walls, doors, ceilings, and floors and surfaces as if they weren't there in their lair, as in layer action. So even more movement, phase through walls. They do the big ice storm, which would hit them and then phase through the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And then the Bheur hag, and then there's something about locking or unlocking doors, which I don't know is too relevant for the Bheur hag. But then the Bheur hag is a specific one where, again, it has a layer action. So on initiative count 20, this is not taking her action. Creates a blizzard that's a 40-foot high, 20-foot radius cylinder centered on a point within 120 feet. It lasts until the next initiative count 20. The blizzard lightly obscures every creature and object in the area for the duration. A creature that enters the blizzard for the first time on a turn starts its turn there is blinded until the next initiative count 20. There's no save. It just happens.
Does it do any damage?
No.
Okay. All right. That's great though.
Yeah. For not in action.
Right. They can only do they can only do one layer action though, right?
Yeah, initiative count 20. Yeah, these aren't legendary actions.
Correct.
It's layer action. Happens on initiative count 20. They cannot do the same one twice in a row.
Yes. Okay.
So they would be bouncing between those two. But it's still.
It's cool. It's really cool. That was a lot on the Bheur hag.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we just want to... Yeah, like we did a whole episode on the Displacer Beast, but we're going to combine the Bheur hag and the Annis hag. And I don't know what we were thinking. I think just call it there, and we'll do the Annis hag separately.
Okay.
We already have next week's planned.
Part 3.
Woohoo! It never stops.
I like it. And then they'll release a new book with more hags.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. Again, I mean, we're splitting up like the Elder Elementals and stuff, so I don't know why
Yeah, I side with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
Yeah,
fine
I get
with
it. We're way over an hour, so.
First 3 hags weren't as exciting.
Yeah. True. Okay. So, yeah, next week we already have planned out. We did a little research and reading, so we're not going to do it then, but probably then the following week we'll go circle back to hags and wrap that one up. Because, yeah, we didn't even touch on their concept of weird magic, as it's put. Their mounts and things like that. And
cool.
So,
we'll talk less about layer actions next time, more about that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for joining us this week, and stick around for the next 15 seconds to hear what's going to happen next week.
Next week on Monsters and Multiclass.
Join us next week as we discuss the Rogue Bard multiclass and the Gibbering Mouther from the Monster Manual. That's my Gibbering Mouther impression.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
in that
we
mouth.
all got that, yeah.
Thank you.